Coming to college, I was super excited because obviously I was going into school for volleyball. That was my main focus at the time, and I was thrilled and also super overwhelmed with all of the emotions that come with coming into college as a freshman and also being a collegiate athlete. I had struggled my last 2 years of high school, but not really. It was kind of one of those things that you brush off, having the same problem over and over, and usually you just make it a routine that you feel all right. So I was here the first 2 weeks of preseason, and I was in immense pain one morning, and thankfully my roommate's mom works here on campus, and she came to my rescue, and I was admitted to my first hospital the very first week of classes at school. They said they think I had Crohn's disease, but they weren't 100% sure. They would have to come back in like a month, and I would have to have a colonoscopy, and they would have to tell me with sample tissues if it was actually Crohn's or not. And it was my worst fear because, one, I had no idea what Crohn's disease was. Also, the fact they were telling me that I might have a disease, period. Also, just, I'd never been hospitalized before. I'd never broken a bone, never had any type of surgery in my whole life. So I was crushed, and all I could think about was getting back to volleyball. I was there for about 2 or 3 days in the hospital here in Jackson, and they let me come back to school and said they would treat me with pills. Needless to say, that weekend the pills weren't working anymore, so my mom came and got me and brought me back to where I'm from in Mississippi, and I went to my home hospital that Sunday morning. She brought me back on a Saturday, and I was readmitted to the hospital. Lots of issues going on. I was there for another 2 weeks, and they found that I had a massive 9 by 11 centimeter abscess sitting on my uterus and my rectum, and they found out that that's why I'd been getting so sick and that I was going to be septic. So I had an emergency abscess drain surgery, which was a failure at that hospital at the time, and they didn't know. So I got admitted to UAB in Birmingham because that was the most they could do for me at that point at my home hospital. So UAB immediately took me in, did an emergency surgery to redo the drain, and said, look, we're going to have to surgically go in and remove about 1 foot of your small intestine because it's beyond repair. So basically the worst news I could ever hear now that I've had one surgery, and here I am going into a massive one that is going to, they're telling me, oh, it's going to be minimally invasive, but I knew in the back of my mind it was going to be a big surgery. And I woke up and I had a stoma bag, and for those of you that don't know what that is, you can look it up. They're not fun. Thankfully for me, mine was only temporary. Some people have those lifelong. So I had that surgery, and they told me when I woke up, this is how you care for your stoma, and I looked down and I was cut open from my lower belly button all the way down, basically. They were telling me how to care for all of my issues at the moment, and also telling me, we'll see you back when about your second semester of school starts, and we'll have your second surgery to repair all of this. That time I had no idea what they were talking about until they explained what the stoma actually did for me, and that my intestines weren't attached at the moment, and I wasn't going to be using them for quite some time. So that was also very harsh, and some people laugh and say that I can just talk about whatever and I'm not uncomfortable with anything. Well, you kind of lose some of your modesty being in 3 hospitals in a matter of about 2 months and all the surgeries you go through, and I love my family so much. They were there for me through it all, and I can't imagine how hard it was for them, watching me go from high school athlete to collegiate athlete. Sorry. As much as I look back on everything, I was out of school the first semester of college, and MC has been phenomenal for me. They kept me in online classes for the whole first semester to keep me eligible for volleyball in hopes that I would get to come back as soon as I could. And I was able to come back that second semester of my first year on campus, even though my first week back I had my second surgery. I came back to school, and for that reversal surgery, they can't actually sew you completely back up for the fear of you having an abscess create again. So I had a hole open in my stomach, and I had to get first-year nursing students to come and pack my stomach with gauze, which was lots of fun for them, I'm sure, getting experience early. Also, it it was really challenging because my immediate fear was that something was going to happen, something bad would happen when I came back, and I had no idea what I needed to do anymore, if I needed to change what I ate, if I needed to not work out, if I needed to be extra active. And that whole first year was very challenging for me, and I lost the love for volleyball somewhere in there because I was so sick, and I just kind of fell far from it. And I have come so far from then, and I have a wonderful, loving team that has supported me this whole way, and they want to understand me and they want to know more about it. And I'm so thankful for this opportunity to be able to share more about Crohn's awareness with all of you. So many people in this world have it, and usually we think it's older people that have it, but it's a lot of our generation with the stress and eating habits that we have. So it was really difficult, but I'm so thankful just for this opportunity, just to be able to talk about it. And also, it's been the most life-changing, traumatic experience for me, but I would never take it away for anything because it has done so much for me, growing me as a person, growing me spiritually, helping my family, connecting my family, and bringing me here to MC with a purpose, and showing me what I want to do in my career, showing me what I want to do in my profession, just how I can help, how I can serve. And along the way, I think I got a little bit lost with what I wanted and what was my main focus in life, and it really resets how you think when a dramatic event like this happens. And now I can connect with people that I never would have been able to before this. I have come in contact with so many people, and at first I was super embarrassed to even talk about that I had a disease, because our immediate thought is, oh my gosh, they have a disease. That's not good, that they're not normal, there's something abnormal about them. And I have just come to embrace that fact now, and the more that I've come to embrace it, the easier it's been and the more people I've been able to meet. Social media has been amazing for me, as cliche as that sounds, but you literally connect with so many people you never thought possible whenever you open up a little bit about what you have going on in your life. And I've met people across the world that have Crohn's, and they connect because of my story. And everyone that has a disease that doesn't have a cure for it, you just want to know, how are you coping? What are you dealing with on a daily basis? Am I anything like you? What do things that you do maybe help or don't help? And just advice, just being able to talk to someone that knows what you're going through or where you've been, that's a huge factor. I've come in contact with so many people at churches in this area, and students of this school, even parents and people I've just met through MC that have come in contact with me about having Crohn's. And there's just so many people are much more open to talking to me about things that never in a million years would I have been mature enough to talk about or even knowledgeable to talk about. It was really, really hard in the beginning, and I can't say there weren't tough days. There were very tough days, and there were days I can't even tell you what was going on in my head. There's not enough words in this world or enough descriptions that I could tell you for you to understand where I was and where my family was and how they were seeing me. But it's one thing, it's just, means so much to a lot of people to be able to share awareness for something that most people don't know. For me personally, to bring awareness to Crohn's is something that I never thought I could do. I never thought it was my sole purpose in life was to share the awareness of Crohn's, but I believe that God has placed this in my life for me to be a huge advocate for Crohn's disease awareness, and it's something that we need to be fighting for and looking after. And it's so difficult because it's something that is so unique to each person, and we've got so many people in this world that suffer with so many different things, and to bring awareness to this is just one more piece of the puzzle to get everything connected, to make sure people know, make sure people care. It's an honor for me to be able to bring awareness to Crohn's disease and let a few more people, especially our age, that usually don't know anything about it or have no worries about it, just let them know that things they may be having going on in their life that seem just kind of okay. Maybe don't brush them off. Maybe go to the doctor. I was never the one like to go to the doctor about anything until I had to, and it was a little bit too late for me to start when I did. So I would just encourage all of you that are able to, well-being, just know what you can and know about people, the way that you can support them and love on them and be there for them. especially people that have a disease. It's good to know that people at MC here love you, regardless of what you have going on in your life or who you're associated with. The people here love you, and that's been amazing for me to go through college knowing that people love me even though I have a disease that doesn't have a cure yet.